Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over. Modest tranquility. Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over.
felt its claws, I've seen its feast. It whispers lies, it feeds on fear, but I stand strong, the path is clear. The shadows crawl, the weak may fall, deception spreads to choke us all. I won't be fooled, I won't comply, I raise my voice, I will not die. Rise from the ashes, break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury our flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I face the night, now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit, we rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. The beast may roar, it may claw, it may bite, it prowls the dark, it shuns the light. But we are fire, we are steel, we take our fate, we will not kneel. Eyes open wide, hearts burning bright, we move as one through endless night. The lies may try to pull us down, but we are kings and queens uncrowned. Rise from the ashes, break every chain.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey,
It's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Never fear. I just had a little problem there. Just a little problem. Must have been catchy from Kylie. That's all right. I hope that you've all had enough, but I know you haven't had enough unindoctrination. So boom, and now we get this. It's not a Jeff Doherty show if we don't have some issues, right, with the picture and whatnot. We gotta do what we gotta do. It's just the way we always do it, right? So let's see if we can. Why? Oh man, now this whole thing is kind of messed up. Boy, I don't know what we're going to do. I guess we're just going to shoot. This is going to cause a problem. This is going to cause a problem, folks. This will cause a problem. Here it is right over here. And now it's upside down. That's really interesting. Anybody know how to fix that? Make it not upside down? Well, I tell you what, let's just do it the old-fashioned way. I'll just have to talk to you. I worked so hard on all these damn slides, and now for some reason, they don't want to show up. It's not going to be a huge deal. We're just going to wing it. We're just going to wing it. Thank you, Matthew Garvin. I appreciate it. Yeah, did you guys see that upside down? I don't know what happened, but it happened. So we're just going to go ahead and do this old style. We're going to do it where you don't see just everybody turn your heads upside down, stand on your heads. Well, we'll just do it. Trying to get things set into a schedule. I'm trying to settle into Not Your Normal Wednesday service. Trying to settle into Not Your Normal Sunday. And then we'll do a Friday Goyim show. That's the plan. Trying to balance the work necessity with the deprogramming. So let's just go ahead and get into this. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see all these super cool slides that I made for you. But hey, we'll just sit back, we'll relax, we'll take it easy, and we'll do what we do. How's that sound? Does that sound all right? Everybody can hear me, right? Give me a 1 if you can hear me. I think everybody's pretty cool. So starting off with this Iran holy war, there's a big, and thanks to Colleen for sending this to me, because I kind of ignored the war thing. Thank you, Emperor. I kind of ignored the war thing. So what I want to talk about first off here is military leaders, folks. I was in the United States Air Force for 7 years, man. I was in the United States Air Force for about 6.5 years. And this stuff just does not happen. Thank you for the sound checks. Military leaders are now saying that the Iran war is so Trump can bring about Armageddon. Now, according to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, which monitors egregious actions by the military against faith, according to the reports and complaints filed with the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, there has been widespread accounts of the United States military commanders telling troops that the war in Iran is a biblically sanctioned mission. And many of them, hey Trace, good to see you. Many of them are saying that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to initiate this conflict. Can you imagine this? According to this MRFF, over 110 complaints as of early this month have been received from service members across all branches of the United States military, 40 different units, and at least 30 different installations. And these commanders are actually telling the troops that the war is part of God's divine plan and that President Trump was chosen to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark the return of Christ to earth. Crazy. I got a Trump flag to burn too. It's signed, but I'm still going to burn it. And Pete Hegseth himself, the Secretary of War, and his commanders are telling our troops that Trump was anointed by Jesus to wage a holy war against Iran. Now, I'm not a fan of Islam, but boy, when your commanders are pushing a specific religious agenda, to me, that is no bueno. And the brass are straight up, the brass means the upper officer corps, they are straight up briefing the troops that this is a holy war. They're telling the NCOs, which I was, those are the non-commissioned officers, the sergeants, they're telling everybody that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to start this war. And again, 110 complaints, 40 units, 30 installations, and interestingly, the complaints have come not from heathens, but the complaints have come from Christians, Muslims, and Jewish servicemen and women. And there are reports of unrestricted euphoria in the chain of command, framing the assault as biblically sanctioned and tying it to end times prophecy. Straight out of the book of Revelation. That's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. And this rhetoric is said to be tanking morale. It's obviously violating constitutional oaths. And it's especially dangerous for troops, they say, waiting possible deployment at any moment. It's terrible. These complaints highlight commanders pushing bloodshed, the need for bloodshed. And whatever you think about Christianity, it's very, very odd that it's a very, very bloody religion. You're saved by the blood. You're healed by the blood. You're washed in the blood. The demons are cast out in the blood. There is a fountain filled with blood flowing from Emmanuel's veins. And sinners who plunge beneath the flood lose all their guilty stains. The red blood touches your black sin and makes it white as snow. This is not the way it's supposed to go, folks. They are saying that this bloodshed is needed to fulfill Christian prophecies. That just might be some kosher disclosure. And I would invite you that are of the Christian faith to ponder what you think about this. Are you okay with spreading and spilling the blood of American servicemen and women in order to fulfill your Christian prophecies? Are you okay with a holy crusade? It's not isolated. It's spreading like wildfire. And the thing that really interests me about this whole thing is that it's not just the Christians that are saying, this is the end. This is the great battle. Do you know that many, many imams and many Islamic clerics are declaring now jihad as anti-U.S. riots are spreading across the Middle East? And many Muslim clerics have issued a fatwa, which is just like saying, let's bring Jesus back. And they're saying that vengeance is a religious duty for all Muslims. So, and I heard the other day, and in fact, ISIS, the Islamic State, is framing the war as a clash between rival opponents of Islam. They are urging Muslims to wage jihad against Jews and against Christians all across the globe. The top Shia cleric has declared jihad against the United States and against Israel. And they have specifically named Trump, Musk, and Rubio for murder. So it's interesting to me that you've got the Abrahamic Jews who really started this war. And I don't know if you heard it or not, but it was one of the secretaries or one of the administration spokespersons that explained to us that this is a defensive war that the United States is involved in. And that piqued up my interest. I'm like, how is this a defensive war? Well, he said Israel was going to strike Iran regardless of whether we did or not. And we knew that if Israel struck Iran, that the Muslim world would automatically lash out against American interests. So because we couldn't allow our American interests to be struck out against, we had to join Israel's attack. So if you read between the lines, if you connect the dots, you've got Abrahamic Judaism waging war on Abrahamic Islam and dragging in Abrahamic Christianity. They're all saying it's the end of the world. They're all saying God's coming back, but it's Christian Messiah, Jewish Messiah, Muslim Messiah. So you've got this whole, it's really just a family struggle, a struggle of the Abrahamic religions. And I would invite you, if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you are a Muslim, you might want to just sit back for a minute and say, this is really weird. I mean, if you read all three of the holy books, they all have the same characters. They all have the same story, but it's just about whose God is better. My dad can beat your dad's ass. That's what we're looking at. This ought to make you sit up and take notice that the Abrahamic religions are really one big family. What we're seeing is a family feud, and it's not a game show. And they're openly saying, the Christians and the Jews, that the blood of our servicemen is necessary to bring back Jesus. If the blood of your children and your neighbor's children is necessary to bring back your Savior, maybe you want to sit back and consider, is that a Savior that you want to bring back? Is that a Savior at all? It's a family affair. Just a little update, just a little something to think about. It's the clash of the Elohim worshiping cult, says Chick Pot Pie. So with that, we're going to jump right into aliens, cannibals, and the Bible. We're going to jump right into this because, especially when I hear all of the Abrahamics getting together, I wonder if it's all coming together. These are such nice slides. I work so hard. I wish you could see them, but you can't. Maybe I'll put them out in some other form here later. But we do live in interesting times. And it can be very terrifying, or it can be very exciting. So are we watching the culmination of doomsday prophecies? Or is that just what control systems want us to believe? And it's not just the Christian control system that wants us to believe that, but the Jewish control system wants us to believe that. The Islamic control system wants us to believe that. The military-industrial cabal wants us to believe that. And my question is, are they getting so desperate that what we actually could be witnessing is the death throes of these control systems that the cabals have cobbled together for some 2,000 years? And are we going to see out of this people realizing, and will we see the rebirth of divinity, sovereignty, and freedom within humanity? That's my hope. That's my hope. Now, why have there been no arrests or prosecutions regarding the E-files in the United States? Informed minds are starting to see that it looks like nobody's going to be prosecuted. And additionally, now we have the Trump alien files coming out at the same time as the E-files. Why? I've got to wonder, is this worldwide cult of flesh-eating, AC drinking, jerky munching, torture, and PDF activity with children, is it all about to be exposed? And more shockingly, does all this activity come straight from the Abrahamic control systems? And was it foretold in the Bible? Could the script itself, you call it the scriptures, I call it the script, could the script itself have been crafted by actual aliens? And is Zoro Ranch the ground zero, if you will, of kosher disclosure? You remember the Georgia Guidestones? I went there. I visited them. Those that have been with me for a long time remembers the deep programs I did from there. But I wonder if we've missed the real message of the Georgia Guidestones. If you remember, one of the statements there was to maintain humanity under 500 million. And the thought came to me, what did they mean by humanity, quote unquote? Is this an occulted or hidden clue that we've somehow missed. We're told now, we don't know how true it is, that the world population stands at about 8 billion people. And if you do the math, which I did, I used a calculator. I'm a Bible college graduate, not a math major. But I did the math, and if you add them all up, the Abrahamic Trinity, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they combine for about 5 billion people. There's only 8 billion on Earth, and 5 billion of them are within one of the Abrahamic religions. That's over half the world's population. Christianity is about 31% of world population. Islam is about 25% of world population. They tell us that Judaism is 0.2%, but that's way, way low. They're just lying to us. The lovely Cynthia convinced me of that. There's just no way there's only 0.2 or 2% rather of the world population Jews. It's way too low. We got crypto Jews, and really Christians are Jews. So at any rate, together, the Abrahamic religions make up at least 60% of the people on earth today. Somebody said that the Georgia Guidestones were a sigil. I can see that. That's very introspective. So what did they mean when they said maintain humanity under 500 million? Because I started thinking, and I realized that if you eliminated all the non-Abrahamics, you'd get rid of a little less than half the world's population. And all the non-Abrahamics are we heathens that don't subscribe to one of the big three Abrahamic faiths. Well, if you got rid of us, that'd leave about 5 billion Abrahamics alive and running the planet. And to me, the math of reducing from 8 billion to 500 million really never made a lot of sense. But if we're going to reduce from 3 billion on the heathen numbers to 500 million, to me that math's a lot better. So what if humanity, as it was stated on the Georgia Guidestones, really means non-Abrahamic folk? You remember I said, and I used to say it for years, and everybody would ask me, Jeff, what do you mean? You remember I used to say, and I still say, we are the last generation of real humans? Are we the last generation of real humanity? Does humanity on the Georgia Guidestones refer to non-Abrahamics? And leaving 500 million of us to service 5 billion of them makes a lot of sense. You know, the Muslims say they're going to get a bunch of servants. You know, the Jewish people say they're going to get a bunch of servants. That's what the Goyim, that's what they call us. That's what we're for. And you know, the Christians don't say it out loud, but they want some servants too, right? So is that why they want to maintain humanity under 500 million? Because according to my math, if you have 5 billion Abrahamics left on earth and 500 million non-Abrahamics, that would give every one of these Abrahamics 10 Goyim slaves. That maths. And the Abrahamic symbology does too, because 10 is like a tenth, right? 10 is like completion. So if you're a Jewish person, a Christian person, a Muslim person, and you get 10 heathens to serve you, you're probably pretty happy about that. Just something to think about. And then I remembered Proverbs 13:22. And that verse says, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. So if you get rid of all of these Abrahamics and you take their stuff and they get to serve you, then it's just one big happy Abrahamic world if they can somehow decide to quit killing each other. So also it says, though he heaps up silver like dust, what he lays up, the righteous, which of course is the Abrahamics, depending on which version of Abrahamic religion you embrace, the righteous will wear the Gucci and the Chanel and all the good stuff that the heathens had. They'll take their silver and will be gone. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And then I started realizing it's not just the Christians, right? It's the Muslims and the Jewish people too. And then I got this crazy thought. What if Abraham was an Anunnaki? What if Abraham was an Anunnaki? What if the whole Christian, and let's stop there. What if the Jewish scriptures, the Christian scriptures, and the Islamic scriptures were all written by actual real aliens? Well, the Old Testament and everyone that wrote the New Testament was Jewish, except for Luke. Luke was Hellenist. He probably was a convert, but there's some question there. But 65 out of 66, I think we're pretty safe to say it was written by Jews or Hebrews. And Abraham was called a Hebrew. And as I think Smoochie reminded me the other day, or was it Colleen, the word Hebrew means one from the other side, or one from beyond. What else would an alien be than someone from beyond? Someone from the other side, a different place. And I can't help but call your attention to, remember INRI? INRI? That was the sign that was placed over the head of Jesus on the cross, supposedly INRI. That was the proclamation that Pilate in the story had put above the cross on the head of Jesus. And it means Iesus Nazarenus Rex Iduarium. In other words, Jesus the Nazarene, the King of the Jews. Jews obviously don't like that, but he's called the King of the Jews. And the funny thing is, Christians don't like that either, even though they are Jews. We got this big thing now about, oh, well, I'll take the Christian and not the Judeo. You can't. When 65, probably 66, of your books in your holy book are written by Jewish people, then you're a Jew. You might be a new Jew, you might be a Reformed Jew, but you're still a Jew. You're Jewish. And it's interesting that the sign on the cross read INRI, and do you know what the word Hebrew is in Hebrew? It's IBRI. INRI, IBRI. Somebody says, well, that was a mock. Was it a mock? Or was it just truth? Do words mean things or do they not? But when you got INRI and IBRI, and remember the Old Testament has no vowels, IBRI and INRI could easily be the very same thing. And the term IBRI functions in Scripture as an ethnonym. It identifies a people. It identifies the covenant people. And if we listen to our Christians today, whether they be Christian nationalists, Christian identityists, and even plain old Christians, they're all saying that they're the chosen people now. They're the covenant people. The Christians teach they've been brought into the covenant. The Jews teach that they're the covenant people. I'm not sure what the Islamics teach, but it's an ethnonym for the covenant people, and it describes language, land, and identity. And this whole thing's about land, isn't it? INRI and IBRI. It appears 34 times, and it always appears in a redemptive historical moment and calls to covenant faithfulness. I'm suggesting to you tonight that you might want to ponder, are IBRI and INRI identical? And in addition to be called IBRI, one from beyond, one from the other side, the doors, anyone? Break on through to the other side. How about that? Abraham, again, was Abraham an Anunnaki? Guess where Abraham was from? Abraham was from Sumer. Sumer. Guess who else was from Sumer? The Anunnaki. And who are the Anunnaki? They're a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians and the Babylonians. Where did Israel spend so much time? Oh, yeah, Babylon. Interesting. Interesting. The Anunnaki say they're descendants of the God of heavens. What do the Christians say? And the God of the earth. What do Christians say? Yeah, he's the God of the whole earth. And their primary function was to decide the fate and to decree the fate of humanity, these Anunnaki. And yet Genesis 24:3 says, I swear to you by the Lord, Yahweh, who's the God of heaven and the God of earth. That's exactly what the Anunnaki said. Abraham was saying the same thing the Anunnaki were saying. I find that very interesting. Does anybody else find that interesting? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that thinks, man, this is really, really weird? Acts 17:24 says the God who made the whole world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth. But I thought the Sumerian Anunnaki God was the God of heaven and earth. Woo, man. Ezra 5:11, we're the servants of the God of heaven and earth, but so were the Anunnaki. And like the Anunnaki were said to do, decree the fates of humanity, sitting here in wherever you're listening on, what is this, March 5th, 6th, 4th? I can't remember. It's the 4th, I think. March 4th. And I'll be hitting the road Friday, traveling to see my grandkids. So going to try to do the Friday night show, going to try to do the Sunday show, give it my best shot. But just like the Anunnaki were said to decree the fates of humanity, and the Anunnaki love gold, do the Jewish people love gold? Check the box. Do the Christian people love gold? Check the box. Do the Islamic people love gold? Well, looking around, Dubai and Saudi Arabia, I think they like gold too. But one thing you can't deny, like the Anunnaki before them, the Abrahamics are decreeing the fate of humanity. And they claim that they're that they are decreeing the fate of humanity. Wow, it's not weird, Jeff. Just very, very old school. I'll take that. Donald Trump loves him some gold. So, my dad used to say, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And I say, if it looks like an Anunnaki, walks like an Anunnaki, and quacks like an Anunnaki, it's probably an Anunnaki. And the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims, they act just like Anunnaki. All the Abrahamics act just like Anunnaki. Just something to think about, right? Well, Eric von Daniken and Zecharia Sitchin, they're the ones that kind of introduced the Anunnaki mythos into popular culture. And in his book, The End of Days, Armageddon, and the Prophecy of Return, Zecharia Sitchin predicted that the Anunnaki would come back to Earth and they would be fulfilling Jewish, Islamic, and Christian prophecy. Wow, that's very, very insightful. Even David Icke claimed that the reptilian overlords of his theory are in fact the Anunnaki. Wow, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? It's really crazy. It's really interesting. Was Abraham an Anunnaki? And if Abraham was an Anunnaki, then Jewish people are Anunnaki, Christian people are Anunnaki, and the Islamics, well, they're just what they are. Try not to get kicked off YouTube again. Good old David Icke. So, let's talk a little bit about the Enuma Elish. Those of you that know what the Enuma Elish is and understand it, many scholars will tell you that the Bible, the Old Testament, Genesis, was copied, many pages in full from the Enuma Elish. So what if the authors of the Bible didn't just copy the Enuma Elish? What if they were the authors of the Enuma Elish? And what if they just changed the names to create what they have correctly judged would be a much more enduring narrative? Consider, in Enki and Enlil are Anunnakis in Sumer. Abraham was from Sumer. According to the book of Genesis, chapter 11 and chapter 12, Abraham was from Ur of the Chaldeans. This is the location where experts say the Anunnaki came from. Wow. So if Abraham lived around 2000 BC, which is what all the Bible scholars tell us, then Abraham was from the Sumerian Anunnaki capital. Was Abraham an Anunnaki? He walked like an Anunnaki. He looked like an Anunnaki. He quacked like an Anunnaki. I'll let you make your own decision. But what you have to realize, whether you like it or not, Abraham was from the same place the Anunnaki were from. The Abraham story and the Anunnaki stories come from the same cultural world. Abraham's world was the Anunnaki world. And if Abraham came from Ur, like the Bible scholars tell us he did, then he worshiped, or he lived in a culture at least, that worshiped a pantheon of gods, that included the Anunnaki traditions, that practiced the temple rituals and astrology, and that venerated the moon god Nana, or Nana. I'm not really sure. Abraham grew up in a world shaped by those myths. And if you study it, what the Bible has done has completely reframed the Anunnaki cosmology and the Anunnaki story. Yes, Carmen, ETs have been here a long, long time. They love us long time. Wow, 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 wow. 7 stars, I think that's, maybe you're joking. So, in the Anunnaki myth and the Genesis myth, and I'm not really saying that it's a myth in the fact that it's not true, but it's a great epic story is what I'm saying. In the Anunnaki myth, the gods create humans as laborers. In Genesis, God creates man and puts him in the Garden of Eden. You think that was a great place where they just ate fruit all day long and ran around naked. But if you get into the actual text and the actual meaning of the words in the Old Testament, Eden was a pen, an enclosure. And what was man sentenced to do? Work. So it's the same story. The Anunnaki said they created humans as laborers. And the Old Testament, the book of Genesis, says that man was created as laborers. The flood story parallels the Epic of Gilgamesh 100%. Except in the Anunnaki version, the flood was sent by angry gods. And in the Genesis version, it was sent by just one angry god. I'm saying, come on. Many scholars, including myself, he's calling himself a scholar. Well, I do have a Bible college degree. I do have over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical original texts. I have been doing this. We figured it out the other day. What did we figure out, honey? 14 years I've been doing this. So yeah, I call myself a scholar. Scholars argue that Genesis is intentionally written to counter the Anunnaki worldview. And I am suggesting to you that you might want to think, did the Anunnaki worldview and mythos, did they sit back and say, this ain't going to hunt down in 2026, man. This ain't going to hunt in 2026. We need to tweak this a little bit. So let's tweak this story. And then we get to one of my favorite subjects, the sons of God. Genesis 6, right? And they're in another place too you didn't know about, but I'm going to teach you about it tonight. Here's where we can make some modern connections. You ready? You ready? And you can also make a connection by going to realgospeltruth.org. You can get your nanosoma there. It gets everything out of you that's not supposed to be in you. You can also get your focused life force energy, which will send you a high consciousness environment. Some of y'all need it. Send you a high consciousness environment to your phone and to your home. Don't believe it? Well, try it free. for 15 days. You don't even have to list a credit card. See if it doesn't make a difference in your life. That is realgospeltruth.org. Now, in Genesis 6, what we see is someone called the sons of God interacting with humans. Now, scholars that just look at words, they see that as being very similar to the divine beings in the Anunnaki myths, semi-divine offspring narratives. The ancient Anunnaki gods interbred with humans. And the Hebrew Bible comes along and then sharply limits that and judges that activity. How about that? How about that? And then in the 1970s, here comes Zecharia Sitchin saying, oh, the Anunnaki were extraterrestrials. They engineered humanity. And the biblical narratives reflect that they were bad guys that did this. So if we stay inside biblical theology, Abraham represents a break from polytheism, a rejection of the Anunnaki divine order, and the establishment of their God as the one God above all other deities. And in that framing, the Abraham story is a counter myth to the Anunnaki system. So really, Abraham was just a rebellious Anunnaki. That's what the text says, at any rate. And there's a deeper structural pattern that you might appreciate if you're a student of truth. Mesopotamia or Anunnaki lore says that there's a divine hierarchy and that the humans serve the gods. Genesis says there's only one God and humans serve him. So the narrative shifts from a bureaucracy to a single covenantal relationship, but humans are still serving. Me, I say we're divine, sovereign, and free, and I don't want to serve nobody's God by force or by coercion. I want to be able to serve, worship according to my own decisions, or not serve, or not worship according to my own decisions. And with what's going on in the world today, do you think it might be better if we just served did our religion the way we want to do it and left everybody else the hell alone? Don't you think that might be a decent idea? As long as we don't infringe upon others. I don't serve anyone either, Dead Wolf. I'm in communion with my gods. Let me say Hail Dagda, Hail Danu, Hail Dawn, Hail Bridget, Hail Morrigan, Hail my ancestors. But no, I don't serve or worship anybody either. But the Enuma Elish, which means when on high, is a Babylonian creation myth, much older than the Genesis creation myth. And it basically says that from these primordial chaos waters, young gods rebelled. This hero god named Marduk beats the bad god named Tiamat. And then Marduk splits Tiamat into two bodies. One makes heaven, one makes earth. And that the humans are created from the blood of a god to serve in the divine realm. Marduk's in charge. There's chaos. Creation is violent, it's political, and it's hierarchical. Now in Genesis, the Anunnaki have primordial waters. In Genesis 1, it's without form and void, and darkness covers the deep. That's water, right? God speaks, and creation unfolds peacefully. There's no divine combat. Then humans are created in God's image, but then they're put into a pen and made slaves. But if you really understand what happened between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2, we don't have the time to do it all tonight, it wasn't peaceful. Because in Genesis 1:1, it says, the gods created the heavens and the earth, period. And then it says, the earth became. Oh, no, it says the earth was without. No, look up that word was in your Strong's Concordance. Every other place in the script, when that word was is used, it means became. It became. without form and void. And it didn't become that way peacefully because Jeremiah tells us that the reason why the earth that was created beautifully, perfectly, and Isaiah said it wasn't created in void, it wasn't created formless. Isaiah says the world was not created in the condition we see it in Genesis 2. Do you believe Isaiah? Do you believe Genesis? Well, then you have to find a way to align those two statements. Isaiah, the world was not created without form and void. Genesis, the world is without form and void. Then Jeremiah says, I saw the earth without form and void, and it became that way because Yahweh blew out his wrath through his nostrils and destroyed the cities, destroyed the men, destroyed the fruitful place. So in the Anunnaki narrative, God kicks ass and takes names. Does the same thing in the Christian narrative, but they kept it a secret. They kept it a secret. And it's very interesting that the Hebrew word for the deep and the Spirit of God hovered over the waters, the deep, that word is tehom, which linguistically is very similar to timat. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. I hope I'm at least giving you some things to think about. Many scholars argue that Genesis 1 is a deliberate theological counter-narrative. It's not copying, they say it's correcting. So we've got the Anunnaki narrative corrected by the Abrahamic narrative. I don't really like the results of either one, to be honest with you. Because in both of them, humans are created to serve the gods, and the humans rule under the gods or God. I don't want to rule under a god. I don't want to be ruled by gods either. It's a radical reframing of the Anunnaki cosmology, and now you've got Abrahamism. And the Enuma Elish was recited every year during their new year to remind everybody of Marduk's supremacy and Marduk's political dominance. Kind of like how the Bible wants to remind us that Yahweh is the only God. I find that very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And did you know that most scholars will frequently compare Yahweh with Marduk? They will compare Yahweh with Marduk. Yahweh and Marduk have the exact same creation narratives. The Enuma Elish says Marduk defeated a watery chaos. Genesis says Yahweh defeated a watery chaos. In the Anunnaki version, he's like a dragon, Marduk. And in the Genesis version, if you read it, it says Yahweh with his wrath blown through his fiery nostrils. What does that sound like to you? A dragon. A dragon. Look at Psalm 74, 13 and 14. Look at Isaiah 27, verse 1. Look at Job 26, 12 through 13. Many scholars think that Israel just stole the Marduk motifs and applied them to Yahweh. This is crazy, right? This is crazy. So the Anunnaki, we've got a bureaucracy of gods. Genesis, we got one God. So is it better to be ruled by a communist pantheon or a dictatorial pantheon? Can I pick C? None of the above? None of the above? I find it interesting that Abraham's descendants, and you got to remember, the Jewish people come from Abraham, the Islamic people come from Abraham, and the Christian people that elect to be engrafted into the Israeli Jewish family, they become children of Abraham. We had a song in the church. Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham, and I am one, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Wow. Wow. When you know the whole story, hello, Bella, you really start to kind of scratch your head a little bit. And then you run across Psalm 82. It says, God stands in the assembly in the midst of the gods, and he judges. I thought there was one God. And this is the Bible. This is not the Enuma Elish. God stands in the midst of the gods, and he judges the gods. It's Elohim. It's the same word. That's Anunnaki. It's one God, a main God, big God, head God, running a bureaucracy of other gods. Psalm 82 is Anunnaki. Wow. I wish you could see these super cool slides I've got. So in the traditional Christian view, Jewish view, Yahweh is God, and he rules over just rulers and judges. Even the word says gods in the Bible. Do words mean things to you or don't they? Now, the spiritual view, and in my view, the textual view, because the words say that there was one God, and I believe there is a supreme divinity. I don't even know to say him or her. I call the supreme God, I mean, how do you even have a name for the supreme God, right? The Most High. Source, creator. And I have no doubt that there is a supreme God. There is a supreme deity, I think is a better word. There's a supreme deity. And that supreme deity, according to Psalm 82, has other deities under this supreme deity. And in Deuteronomy 32:8, it says that this supreme God divided the world up according to these other gods or sons of God, just like Genesis 6 said. Psalm 82:6 says, you are gods, you are sons of the Most High God. Of course, the Bible says that it's Yahweh that's judging all these gods. I say, how do you know? And do you want to be under a dictator or a communist rule of a council of dictators? I say, I'm taking C. I'll be ruled by me. Thank you very much. It's up to you. You can choose what you want to choose. Biblically, textually speaking, the gods in Psalm 82 are the heathen deities of the nations. Psalm 82 shows that there is a Most High, and then there are other lesser deities. But the Bible wants to say that it's Yahweh, and if you don't worship him, you go to a really, really bad, hot place. I don't believe that. Oh, Jeff, that's just Old Testament. Well, Jesus actually quoted Psalm 82. He said, is it not written, you are gods? At the very least, he kept the mystery going. Why couldn't he have just sorted it out for us? If you just believe the text, there's a Most High God. There's lesser divine beings. And Psalm 82 confirms that textually. Psalm 82 doesn't deny the existence of other gods. In fact, it emphasizes the existence of other gods. And if Yahweh says there's no other gods and Psalm says there are, then if you're a Christian, you've got a problem with that. You've got a problem with that. And Arthur King says very adroitly, Psalm 82, excuse me, went down the wrong. It's actually Deuteronomy 32 says that the Most High God gave peoples to other gods, and he gave only Israel to Yahweh. And they didn't even get any land. Why? Because they were not very nice. So today, we're fighting a war so Israel can have their land when the Most High God said they don't deserve any. That might make you think just a little bit, maybe. I don't know. We'll get to Candace Owens pretty quick. How we doing here as far as numbers in the house? Oh, looking good. Appreciate y'all. Really do. Wow. And then Psalm 82 makes it sound like the pagan gods, the heathen gods, were demoted. You shall die like men. And Yahweh takes them over. Well, even if that happened, there's a little thing happened in AD 70. Remember that temple? Wrecked. You remember all those Jews? Wrecked. All those Christians? Wrecked. The temple taken apart brick by brick. The land plowed. The Jews kicked the hell out of there, right? So the heathen gods took over again. So even if Yahweh was large and in charge in Psalm 82, and the only thing we have to validate that is Psalm 82, come AD 70, times they were a-changing. Now here we are today. Some things got to happen, right? Some things got to happen. I'm just trying to give you some things to think about. Got to give you some things to think about. Giving you some things to think about. And in Deuteronomy 32, it says the Most High God, this is in the Masoretic text, the Greek Septuagint, the most earliest renderings. It says that the Most High God fixed the borders of the people according to the number of the sons of God. The Most High God divided the nations, assigning them to other gods. My people, your people. And then Deuteronomy 32:9 says the Lord's portion, Yahweh's portion, is Israel. So Yahweh kept Israel and only Israel. So why do you Christians want to get in that group when you got your own group? I mean, I know you might think, and I know the preacher might say, but if the Most High God said, those people go with that God, you people go with this God. Why is a black man with Israel's God? Why is a brown man with Israel's God? Why is a yellow man with Israel's God? Why is a red man with Israel's God? Why is a white man with Israel's God? Why? The Most High said, look, you black people go with this black God guy. You red people go with this red God guy. You yellow people, the yellow God guy. You white people, the white God guy. Why do you want to go with the God guy of somebody that's not you? I don't know. It just blows my mind. Maybe it's because you never heard nobody tell you this truth before. But really, you should have read it yourself. I mean, come on, right? You should have read it yourself. You should have read it yourself. In the heathen concept, Deuteronomy 32, simple. Most High God says, you go with the gods of your folk, your people, your kin. And if you look around, why do you think black people like to hang out with black people? Why does brown people like to hang out with brown people? Why does red people like to hang out with red people? Why does yellow people like to hang out with yellow people? And yes, white people like to hang out with white people. Like Muhammad Ali said, I want my children and my grandchildren to look like me. I like to be with the people I like to eat what I like to eat. like to sing what I like to sing, like to dance the way I like to dance. Now, every now and then it's nice to get together and learn some other cultures, but I like my culture. Nothing wrong with my culture. So why do we have to decide that we got the wrong God? So the Most High was wrong and you're right? Okay. You knock yourself out with that. But Deuteronomy 32 says the sons of God were real spiritual beings. They were national gods. But of course, they want you to believe that Yahweh is the ultimate judge. But Deuteronomy 32, Psalm 82 says that Yahweh is just another one of them. Yahweh's not the Most High God. He's the God of Israel. I got no problems with that. I'm not Israel. I don't want that God. I got my own Irish and my own German gods. 95% Irish, 5% German. I just want to be left the hell alone. That's it. Now let's get to the famous Genesis chapter 6. The sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful. The sons of the gods. That's what it means. B'nai Elohim. The sons of the gods. The sons of the gods liked some of the people of Yahweh's tribe, evidently, or the tribe that Yahweh was trying to take over. The way I see it, there was the sons of God, there was the sons of Yahweh. It's Psalm 82 all over again. There's all these people, and some of these sons said, "Ooh, she's hot. I like her." But Yahweh said, "No, because most people were taken up with most people were going the other way and not to Yahweh." Got nothing to do with angels screwing women. It's got to do with people liking other people. And Yahweh was getting run out of town. So the sons of God are literally the sons of the heathen gods. It's not angels. That's from Enoch, which was a forgery. They transgressed the boundaries that Yahweh set. And Yahweh got mad. Destroyed everything. He didn't have the power to destroy everything. It's just a story. And this sons of God being the descendants of Seth, this daughters of men being the line of Cain, that's just a fairy tale made up by Christianity. It's a Christian invention. There's no doubt about it. Genesis 6 shows there was a dispute between gods and Yahweh. Yahweh is just one of them. There was a dispute. Yahweh got all mad, said, "I'm going to kill you all." Why? Because he was losing. He didn't even get any land. You got to remember, the Most High said, "You get these people, but you don't get no land because you haven't been very nice. Everybody else got land." If you don't got land, how are you going to get land? By taking over other people's land. Have you read the Old Testament? That's a coherent cosmic storyline. The Bible's not. I submit that for your perusal. That's it. And then you go to the New Testament, Ephesians 6:12. We wrestle against flesh and blood, rulers, authorities, cosmic powers. They're telling you there's other gods out there you're fighting against. Jesus said, "All authority in heaven and earth has been given to me." He's saying, "I'm taking it back." But even if he did take it back, he died, 32, 33? Interesting numbers. But, he got crucified in AD 33. Interesting number. So even if he did take all authority back, and they still want our land, as Chick Pot Pie says, they ain't got no land. How are they going to get land? They got to take it. Even if Jesus did take back authority in AD 33, even if, as Colossians 2:15 says, he disarmed the rulers and authorities, he disarmed the other gods. Acts 17, he took over all the nations again. Even if he did, Galatians 3:15 says this: After a covenant has been confirmed, no man can disannul it or add to it. A covenant that was confirmed of the Most High God cannot be disannulled or made of none effect. So if the Most High God in Psalm 82, Deuteronomy 32 said, you go here, you go there, you get no land because you're not nice people, when the Most High makes it, it can't be disannulled. Now, you can pretend it does. You can build a whole system that says it does. You can fight wars that said it does. But guess what? It didn't. And sooner or later, the divine, sovereign, and free last generation of real humans is going to rise again. It's going to rise again. And I'm part of it. And most of you listening to me are part of it. But let's tie the bow on this part. I talked about cannibals. Talked about PDFs. Talked about being bad to children. Well, all of that has come to a head in the E-Files and in Jeffrey Epstein's Zoro Ranch. And I can't show you this, but in the main room of Zoro Ranch, I showed you on our last program about Zoro Ranch Goes Christian. Look at it. Check it out. Check it out. The main room at Zoro Ranch is dominated by one religious symbol, a Orthodox cross with icons on it. Why would the main room at Epstein's Zoro Ranch be dominated by an Orthodox Christian cross with icons on it and a dead rabbi on a stick? Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Everything that was going on there. It wasn't Baphomet in the main room. It wasn't Satan in the main room. Hell, it wasn't even Marina Abramovic. It's a beautiful Orthodox cross with icons of Mary and, what is that, Peter maybe on the other side, and the dead rabbi hanging there in the middle. Why would that be the main thing at Zoro Ranch? And then a Christian group has now bought the property, going to turn it into a Christian retreat specifically for children. Go watch that. Zoro Ranch Goes Christian. Learn about the tunnels connecting Dulce Base. I know I'm mispronouncing it wrong. All of you pronunciation experts, you can correct me. Her Majesty says, I don't know. Why is that there? But now a Christian group has taken it over. And what was the first thing they did? They destroyed the building, the big building where all the bad stuff took place. They destroyed it. They demolished it before any forensic research could be conducted. And now on top of that, they're going to construct a Christian retreat at this site dedicated to the children. And did I mention that no one in the United States has been arrested yet? Did I mention that it connects to the Dulce, however you say it, base, where they were doing genetic experiments? And did you know about Jeffrey Epstein's genetic experiments? I'm just saying. And what were the Anunnaki doing? Genetic experiments. And if you got that thing we can't talk about on YouTube where I lost my channel before, you got the Epstein DNA. Wow. 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 Yeah. We do live in interesting times. It can be terrifying, but I find it exciting. I really believe that this culmination of doomsday prophecies, it's going to be played out. The control systems are overplaying their hand. I believe we're witnessing the death throes of the control system cabals, and we're going to see the rebirth of divine, sovereign, and free humanity. The last generation of real humans will rise. It will rise. This world's going to be better than it's ever been, and it'll be sooner than even we can believe. Trust me. Don't trust me. Test me. Show me. And by the way, this isn't anything new. Wish I could show you this. Have you ever heard of Lina Marcela Medina de Jurado? She was born on the 23rd, which is a 5 of September, 1933. And she was the youngest confirmed mother in history, except for maybe Mary back in the Bible, because Lina Marcela Medina de Jurado, they should have named her Mary. She was 14 years old when she gave birth to her son on the 14th of May, number 5, 1939, 1939. She gave birth, Mary, maybe not. She gave birth when she was 5 years old. She gave birth when she was 5 years old, but not just 5 years, 7 months and 21 days of age, which means she was 4 when she became pregnant. But you know the Talmud and the book of Deuteronomy says 3 and up, fair game. Oh, you didn't know it was in Deuteronomy? Oh, yeah. It was. If you've watched me, you know I've showed it to you. She became pregnant when she was 4. Wow. This has been going on for a long, long time. And by the way, the San Antonio Light newspaper reported that a Peruvian obstetrician and midwife association made a deal with an American film studio to film it. And once they filmed it, son of a gun, the films fell into a river. Dr. Gerardo, who did the delivery, took custody of the boy. Lena was held captive at the hospital and only got to see her son occasionally. The father was arrested on suspicion of child abuse, but he was released for lack of evidence. His 5-year-old daughter gave birth, and he was released for lack of evidence. Wow, are you kidding me? So it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. You know, I don't like to jump on things. I like to let them cook a little bit. I like to let them simmer a little bit before I weigh in because, you know, it can be sensationalistic. And you know, I don't think I've ever said anything good about Candace Owens. But she's doing a series right now called Bride of Charlie. I'm like Smoochie. I call it Bride of Chucky. And I just want to answer and expand a little bit on Candace Owens's excellent expose. Don't like her lifestyle, don't like a lot of things she does, but she's flat killing it in this expose. A lot of people are jumping on her about it. And, you know, she shouldn't be talking about Erika because Erika's a grieving widow. She's a grieving widow. That's this year's Trust the Science. Candace points out the stark similarities between the Thing agenda, that thing we can't talk about, and the Erika Kirk agenda. And I think she makes a compelling point. Because if you dare to question the science behind either the initial Charlie Kirk event or the ongoing Erika Kirk event, you're a demon. We're not allowed to notice, we're not allowed to point out the multiple times that Erika Kirk has lied through her teeth. She's untouchable. She's a grieving widow. Something's not right with Erika Kirk, says Candace Owens, and Candace is right. I want to talk you through this a little bit. I wish I could show you this. I made some great slides. There's a lady named Elizabeth Lane on X that I have followed. She was familiar with the situation, familiar with Erika. She's a former actress herself. And she said something that I think a lot of us have probably thought. She said, and I'm reading from her tweet, Erika Kirk is deeply disturbing. not because of rumors or gossip, but because of consistent, observable patterns of her behavior. She comes from the modeling and acting world, she says. Most of these people are shallow. Most of them are harmless. A few of them are very dangerous, and she thinks Erika falls into the dangerous category because she's probably a psychopath. I concur. What stands out immediately is the very visceral reaction that Erika provokes in people, which is very common with psychopaths. You just can't watch her. There's something wrong. You can't put your finger on it, but man, it's weird, because she feels so artificial to the point of being unbearable. That kind of response doesn't happen accidentally. Humans are super highly sensitive to emotional incongruence between mismatches between facial tone, content, and the brain treats this as a threat signal, as it should. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. And studies on psychopathy describe traits such as rehearsed emotional displays, shallow emotional displays. And these traits create this uncanny personal dynamic where discomfort arises, and people want to shut it off because most people can see that she's trying to mimic emotion she doesn't have. And the problem is that Erika has all the tools except for emotion. She's faking it. She's never cried a tear, but she's always dabbing. Now, there's plenty of attractive, ambitious women still reading that move through media spaces without triggering that response. But this is about the extreme disconnect between the presentation that Erika puts out and her lack of authenticity. She's a wolf. She wasn't born to be a supporting wife. She was born to be a decision maker. She was pursuing proximity to power, and she is pursuing spaces that maximize her exposure. Erika was looking for the same thing Hillary Clinton was, in this lady's opinion. I think she's right. Do you think Hillary and Bill are in love? Of course not. But Erika, like Hillary, saw Charlie and saw that she could make a brand. She could make a brand. Erika saw this. She saw, and Cynthia's even said this, that Charlie Kirk could one day have become president. He was going to be an important player in politics, and she wasn't going to miss that ride. What is striking is how completely her public identity reshaped itself after her relationship with Charlie began. Her tone, her values, the way she looked, the way she talked, everything changed overnight. She went and became a devoted Christian. She started dressing modestly. She started being supportive. She started being a housewife. That's a radical, rapid adaptation that's quite impressive for a normal person, but quite normal for a psychopath. And for a moment it works. But now people are starting to see the cracks because, man, it's beginning to be glaring. And everything was going great until Charlie decided to start turning down money that would allow them to expand the empire. Erika was not happy about that. She wanted power. She wanted influence. And Charlie was turning down money that could have helped make a stronger global power. And a supporting role is not her thing. She wants center stage. And even though her husband had just died hours ago, she struts onto a stage as if she was born there. Comes naturally to her. She knows it. She wants it. Just days after her husband's death, she's already laying out ambitious plans for the company over Zoom. She knew exactly where to pick up when her turn came. What people struggle to watch and what makes it unbearable is there's no grief. It's the absence of emotional continuity. Performances can be learned, but emotion can't be improvised or mimicked if you've never experienced it. What we're dealing with is a psychopath who's never really had these emotions and doesn't know how to play them. And audiences instantly know it's fake. So Candace deep dived into Erika's past, talked to her old boyfriends, her old colleagues, her family members, even her enemies. And she ended up with agreeing with this lady's conclusions. And Owens correctly and somewhat astoundingly, in my view, nails it. She concludes that It all comes down to trauma-based mind control. I've been saying this, and to hear Candace say it, it's like, wow, nice. Children are abused with the goal of transforming them into psychopaths that can be used and leveraged by the control systems to further their nefarious agendas. She also nails what I've been saying, and I've never listened to Candace Owens until Cynthia basically forced me to listen to this. She also said that the Manson event was part of this mind control agenda. I said that. Candace is really smart. She agrees with me. And she brings up a great point, one that that I missed. Operation Paperclip wasn't really about importing German rocket scientists. It was about importing German psychologists and the early pioneers in mind control, and that the individuals imported in Operation Paperclip were wildly, disproportionately Jewish Germans. It's amazing. This is all social engineering, she says, and she's right. She's 100% right. She even confirms my long-standing assertion. Is she listening to me? Candace, are you listening to the Christian whistleblower? She said that the dawn of serial killers in America is a tool and manifestation of MKUltra mind control, including the ubiquitous ties to the military. I was saying that. Gosh, she's a smart lady. She believes what I believe. So Candace comes to what I think is a brilliant revelation. We all know that Erika's lying, but it's very likely that Erika doesn't know that Erika's lying. Candace says it's almost like what she says has been recently downloaded into her mind and she just accepts it as true. I've experienced this in my life with people. I call it pathological lying. They really believe what they're saying is true. Like Bill Clinton, he really believed when he said, I did not have sex with that woman. He believed it. He really believed it. Because he also was a victim of MKUltra mind control. And kind of the foundational myth of all this is this whole single mother. I was raised by a single mother. You can't, not only is she a grieving widow, she was raised by a single mother. You can't say anything bad about her. Fact of the matter is she was not raised by a single mother. Not for a single day was she raised by a single mother. Her father was actually a stay-at-home dad, a Mr. Mom, for all of her formative years. Erika Kirk refused to answer Candace's question about this. And by the way, Erika's devoted Catholic mom's been married 4 times. And Erika gave an interview to the New York Times, sit-down interview, and the Times asked her, well, are you traumatized by having to raise your children on your own? Erika's like, oh, no. Raising my children on my own is the least traumatizing aspect of the whole thing because I had a great example of my own mother raising me as a single mom, which, of course, she didn't. Dude, it's just weird. And what's even weirder is Erika's mom is the spitting image of the mother of my children's mom. It's freaky. Is that you, Carol? It's crazy, folks. I'm telling you. Erika Kirk has learned a lot from her mother, Lori Franzway. Erika was born in November 1988. They don't really know which day. We'll get to that. She divorced Erika's father and raised her as a single mother, says Erika's LinkedIn. That's just not true. It's just not true. Erika Kirk wasn't raised by a single mother for a single day. Her dad was Mr. Mom to her. She even had a stepdad in the home. Not only was she not raised for a single day by a single mom, she had 2 dads. The single mother myth is just that. It's a lie. It's a lie. And there's all these little wrinkles like this in Erika's narrative. Where I'm come from, they're called lies. Candace is nicer than me. She calls them wrinkles. They're just lies. But why lie about this? Why lie about this? Owen says that it's an intentional crafting of a false legacy to be sold to the Judeo-Christian echo chamber that is her supporters. I agree with that. I might have tweaked that a little bit. But as Candace says, minor tweaks over a long period of time are not noticeable. And she's right about that. That's what we see. And I mean, it starts with her birthday. Her birthday. Everybody knows what your birthday was, right? Well, first we were told that Erika was born November 20th, 1988. In fact, there's a newspaper article proclaiming her birth at Good Samaritan Hospital, but it was not the 20th. It was 2 days later. And by the way, the hospital she was born in was gifted by the United States Marine Corps to the Catholic Sisters of Charity after a scandal involving the abuse of children. So Erika's mom says she was born on the 20th, but then the newspaper says she was born on the 22nd, which Candace didn't say this, but I had to get a little deep on this, okay? I had to get, Her Majesty says Erika uses all the Christian language. She can't go 4 words without saying the Lord. And I think it was brilliant. Candace says it's not the Lord, it's the Lori, her mom. She can't go, yeah, and then exactly Arthur King. I didn't get there, but yeah, there was another Erika Kirk born in 1933. But November 22nd, really, probably she was born on the 20th, but why do they use 22nd? Because November 22nd, that's a perfect master number. It's actually a triple master number. 11 is a master number. You don't reduce 11. Usually if you get like 21, you'd add that to 3, make it a 3. But when you get 11, it doesn't become 2. 11 is 11. It's a master number. And 1122 is 11, 11, 11. It's a triple emphatic. That's very strong magic. It's a Hebrew triple emphatic. And if you remember the Old Testament, holy, holy, holy. New Testament, verily, verily, I say to you, it's a double emphatic, but it's Hebrew magic, and you won't believe what's coming next, but it's Hebrew magic. It's a triple emphatic. In her divorce papers, says she was born on the 22nd. How can you not get your own daughter's birthday right? But in the divorce paper, they're back to the 20th. You know, I may not know the year that my children were born, but I damn sure know the day. And I got 3 of them. Joshua was born on the 7th of May. Charity was born, yes, on the 20th of April. And Sandra was born on November 12th. I remember these things. And then, if it's not crazy enough, they even changed the date of their divorce. And they just hand wrote it. You can't do that. This is not subtle, it's not normal, and it should bug you. And as Candace says, this just isn't real life. You can't just overwrite handwritten things on legal papers and not get them initialed and all that stuff. Actually, Candace Owens found 4 different marriage dates for Lori and Kent Francevay across multiple documents, and they found no evidence of her being married in Marblehead, Massachusetts. And why is Marblehead, Massachusetts important? Well, that's the birthplace of the United States Marine Corps, who donated the hospital that Erika was born in that got shut down because of abuse of children. It's called kosher disclosure, folks. But the question becomes, why are even the most mundane facts of Erika's life so difficult to pin down? While Candace wouldn't go so far as to say that Erika's 4 times married mother was committing fraud, she did confirm that if in fact she was just carrying on a family tradition, because Erika's mother's maiden name is Abbas. Candace says Abbas. I think it might be Abbas. Either way, it's Syrian, Lebanese Syrian. And the family comes from the world of gambling and casinos. Maybe that's why they're so transfixed by numbers. Gambling and casinos. Erika's maternal grandmother had a long history of being arrested for illegal gambling operations. She was arrested for running an illegal lottery business. It made the newspaper. You can't see it, but it did. She was also arrested another time, again, for running a numbers game, sentenced to $200 or 5 months in jail. Lottery, gambling, slot machines, and not just on her mother's side. On her father's side, maybe. They're also gamblers, but they were in legal gambling. Her paternal grandfather was involved in horse racing. It's legal. He was also an executive at the company that printed the first lottery tickets for the state of Illinois. But back to her mother's side, her maternal grandfather got chased by the police down the road. He threw a bunch of lottery tickets out the window that they grabbed, and then he got convicted of running an illegal lottery. They found the tickets. He was fined $10. This is way back in the day. Wow. It's crazy. But being Syrian Lebanese on her mother's side and Swedish on her father's side, Candace found it very interesting, so do I, that she seems to be all about her Swedish heritage, which is her dad's side, despite the fact that she insists she was raised by a single mother. It's weird. I wish you could see these pictures. They're so awesome. But raised by a single mother, dad wasn't around, but it's dad's Swedish heritage that so motivated Erika that she went so far as to obtain dual citizenship with Sweden. And oh, by the way, I'm sure it doesn't mean anything, but Erika's Swedish family is a long, long line of Swedish Freemasons. And then she made what was seemingly, an innocent, cute little mistake. She called her Swedish grandfather Morfar, which is a huge blunder, because Morfar means your mother's father. She got a big tribute to him here you can't see. Morfar means your mother's father. And Candace was pretty much on this, but was it just a mistake? Is Erika mistaking? Is Erika lying? Or is she kosher disclosing? I'm going to prove to you she's kosher disclosing. Are you saying Erika's just watch. I'm almost done. Just watch. Just watch. Just listen. You're not seeing anything. In March of 2019, Erika visited the Zion's Gate in Jerusalem. And she made a really weird post on, I don't know, was it MySpace? Was it Facebook? Whatever. She makes this, and you can't see it, but I'm looking at it. Picture of her and this lady, and they're standing by this dedication plaque at the Zion Gate in Jerusalem. I even blew it up for you so you could see it and read it. But so Erika Kirk says, meet Darla. She's a Romanian Jew, remember that one, that now calls Israel home. She was sitting by, and I quote, Erika Kirk said, she was sitting by my family's dedication sign for restoring the Zion Gate in Jerusalem. My family. Erika Kirk says her family restored the Zion Gate in Jerusalem. Well, that's really, really weird. But then it explains a really weird statement by her former longtime roommate that said that Erika is half Jewish. The same roommate, who has the last name Rothstein, says that Erika is her biological cousin. And I'll give you 5 seconds to think of the name of the family that really paid for the dedication of the Zion Gate. It was, you got it, the Rothsteins. So the Rothsteins dedicated the Zion Gate in Jerusalem, rebuilt it, made the plaque. And Erika says it was her family. She calls the Rothstein girl her cousin, and she also publicly, in print, calls the Rothstein cousin's father her uncle. Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding you. Erika calls the Rothstein cousin's father her uncle in an online post. Why don't we just believe her? Why don't we just take her at her word when she says that this guy is her morphar? He really is her mother's father. What's up, Dirt Gang? Erika is admitting that she's Jewish. This is kosher disclosure. This also ties her to Mormon Utah and even Utah Valley University. Does that ring a bell, Utah Valley University? Because her morphar, he actually graduated from and is a huge donor to the very college where the Kirk event took place. Now that's a coincidence. That's a coincidence. Erika Kirk is not only Jewish, she's related to graduates and major donors at the place where her Charlie was supposedly unalived. Wow, you see why I had to do this. This is just absolutely nuts, right? But there's even more nuts. The Rothsteins, his name is actually Jack Solomon, like King Solomon. They still live there. You think that they might have made it down to the hospital when Erika's Charlie was transported there after allegedly being shot, but not one of them went to the hospital. Jack Solomon, professor, not only a big donor at Utah Valley, that the place where Charlie was unalived, allegedly. He's also a professor at Brigham Young University, the big Mormon college. And he started their Center for Jewish Studies as well. The Zion Gate is his dedication. Erika said it was my family's dedication. Do the math. And oh, by the way, completing the loop, Jack got filthy rich by slot machines. He also is the founder of the Colorado Bell Hotel Casino in Laughlin. I've been there many times, stayed there many times. Wow. Wow. You got to look up, you got to go on Google or whatever you go on, and you got to Google young Erika in a bee costume. I just can't believe you can't see this. Damn, this is terrible. Here's this. She's like 3 years old. She's dressed as a bee, which is Mormon imagery all over it. And she's throwing up that diamond Cabal sign they all do. 3 years old! Doing the little thing. So as we wrap this up, Candace Owens talked about Project Looking Glass. You know what that was. I'm like, how in holy hell could this relate to Erika Kirk? Well, as Candace was investigating Erika's past, she found that in 1992, Erika attended the Walnut Corner Children's Center in Cincinnati. The school was located inside a big corporate building, and oddly enough, the filing for the daycare center, it doesn't have a floor number. But anyway, there's the photo of Erika dressed as a bee throwing up some Cabal hand signs. Then she moves to Arizona, where she attended a school that they've done their best to remove from existence. It's been purged from the internet. And the school began when a man named John T. Goalie. I'm an old goalie. What's a goalie? It's a gatekeeper. You're trying to keep him from getting through, right? John T. Goalie starts this company called Educational Alternatives. And oh yeah, he had formerly worked to launch Monsanto's Roundup. But he wanted to continue to give back to humanity, so he started Educational Alternatives. He teamed up with the Walton family of Walmart fame and this family called the Bushes, to pioneer charter schools. He went on Good Morning America with Jeb Bush to announce this project, and they were called Tesseract Schools. Tesseract Schools. Look up a Tesseract. It's basically a time machine. And the Tesseract was featured in a children's novel, a young adult novel called A Wrinkle in Time. Published in 1962, The characters embark on a journey through space and time, galaxy to galaxy, as they endeavor to fight the black thing that has intruded into several worlds. People from beyond, people from the other side. A tesseract, by the way, it's a 4-dimensional hypercube, not time traveling at all. Also, of course, not related to the Teflon cube worn on the heads of devout Jewish worshippers, and certainly not related at all to the Muslim Kaaba cube in Mecca, and definitely not related to the New Jerusalem cube of the book of Revelation, which is exactly a tesseract. So the original school that young Erika the Bee, remember Maya the Bee, well, this is Erika the Bee, she attended the original school she attended. It was rented from a Jewish school, which is interesting. And the Jewish school was called the Looking Glass School. And the school was closed for fraud. I wish you could at least see. I'll post the Erika flashing the Cabal sign dressed as a bee on my YouTube. Wow. Yeah, that's just part one of Candace's expose, you'd have to call it. And since I'm going to be driving all the way to Virginia, I have a feeling I'll listen to, I think she's up to part 5 now, and I really want to bring those to you as I can. Because holy crap, man. Truth really is stranger than fiction. So I'm planning going forward, not your normal midweek service, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock Central Time. Not your normal Sunday. We'll be on Sundays. I think it'll still be at 8 p.m. Depends upon which job. Got to work a job. Got kicked off of YouTube. Won't remonetize me. Got to work a job. The start time will depend upon which job I take. I got options. Got some skills. Got some options. And then we're going to really endeavor to do a special Friday night red meat, not try to be nice guy on Goyim each week. Ooh, wow. Good stuff, folks. So that's our plan going forward. And you notice they're longer shows now. I think we've been over 2 hours here. So, yeah, it's back kind of like the late night in the Heartland days. So, there you go, folks. There you go. We had the Holy War in Iran. We had the aliens, Anunnaki. And we had the Bride of Chucky. I like that better, Smoochie. The Bride of Chucky. We had that too. Tanhawk Group. Boom. Nice to see you. It's been a minute. It's possible Eric and Charlie are both Manchurian candidates. I'd say highly friggin' likely. Can I run through there's so much chat. I don't know if I can run through it all. But let me at least scan through for some highlights. I got a good haircut, didn't I? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Kylie Dugan. You're so freaking awesome. I'm more calm now, says Dead Wolf. Best show on YouTube. Thank you, Kirsten. Will you indulge? Indulge what? I don't know. I missed that one. Need to rewatch this? Yeah, you need to rewatch it. It gets better and better. Thank you. Wormhole, Looking Glass. Nothing surprises you anymore. It really doesn't. I have a wild theory that the Amish and the Mennonite community are actually Jewish. Now, that's interesting. If you got any receipts, send that to me. Yeah, I've been to the Colorado Bell many times, too. Jeffrey, it all makes sense. It's wild. It's crazy. I'm glad you came, too, Connie. Don't let any of it bothering me. It's not worth it. What's up, Dirt Gang, Arizona? I'm rolling. Says Smoochie. Good. Black Scout getting some love. Jeff, I don't think you trust Miss Erika Kirk. Not as far as I could throw her. And she looks like to be gaining weight to me, so that would be very, very short throw. My back is kind of bad, so very short throw. Candace thinks Charlie Kirk is actually dead. Yeah, I mean, come on, baby steps. Candace is in beast mode, though. I mean, I don't respect her lifestyle, but man, she does a great job with her presentation. She's bringing the good. She is bringing the damn mail. I like that about her. Your receipts are so real. Thank you, Jessica. That's for sure. My receipts are always there. They destroyed the evidence, chick. You're absolutely right. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I can't read them all. Birds of a feather, absolutely. Yahweh is the angel of death. I'd have a hard time arguing with that one. Deuteronomy says Yahweh inherited Israel from the Most High God. Yeah, and only Israel. And it means a people, not a land, because they weren't given any land, because they weren't very nice. They just weren't very nice. Yeah, lots of good stuff. I appreciate y'all being here tonight. It was a lot of fun. I was kind of feeling tired when I sat down, but bam, now I'm ready to rock and roll. Carmen, always great to see you from down under. Traces of life been looking for me. Here I am, baby. Here I am. Much love and appreciation for every single one of you, and I do mean that. I really do. I really do. I'm not taking calls because I got rid of my Ring Central. But you know what? Since we're doing these 2-hour shows, okay, we're going to do a poll, and I'm going to let you decide. And remember, it cost me $50. So if you vote 1, bring back Ring Central, take calls. Maybe someday you throw a couple dollars my way. Go to realgospeltruth.org. You can donate there. You can donate through PayPal, So if you want me to get the Ring Central back and take calls, put in a 1. If you don't want me, and you're under no obligation. I got rid of the phones because it cost me $50 a month and nobody was calling because I was doing really short shows. I get it. So if you want the calls back, hit a 1. There's a 1, so it's 100%. There's another 1. I love drinking. Unholy, holy warrior. The ones are rolling in, folks. Okay, so I will do it. Smoochie says a 1. I'll do it. Let's donate 1. I'll do it. I'll bring him back. We will call. I got to pay before I call. Nobody said you got to pay before you call, David. You're a stoner. You're David Stoner. You should be chill, man. That's Jewish as fuck. Come on, bro. Just take it easy. It's all right. Yeah, $50 a month it's a lot, but I can do it. I'll have a job here. So, yeah, the ones have it. We will bring back the calls. And David, Stoner David, you don't have to spend any of your bud money, bro. We'll let you call. It's no problem. No problem at all, man. Just take another hit. It'll be all right. David puts in a 1. Oh, okay. If I don't have to give up any of the bud, I'll put a 1. I'm just messing with you. I will do it. Oops, that was a little hot. Sorry. I will do it. All right, folks. That's it. My throat's cracking. I talk too much. I do love the calls. StreamYard didn't have calls. That was Ring Central. I had to do it. Oh, that's funny. I'm poor. Yeah, we're not all as rich as we want to be, right? So that's what we're going to do. All right, folks. I just submit for your consideration all this stuff I put up here today, man. Come on, just think a little bit. If you'll just think and you decide because you decided, I'm cool with that. Don't believe just because I say, don't believe because anybody else says. Do your own thinking, man. Who thinks for you? Do your own thinking. And I would just like you to understand, I will do call-ins as soon as I get it back. I'll get to work on that tomorrow. What if you don't have original sin? What if you have the spark of divinity within? What if you're not a sinner saved by grace? What if you're divine, sovereign, and free in the first place? What if you really are part of the last generation of real humans? What if you are? Okay, sorry, gotta ban a bitch over here. Gotta ban a bitch over here. Some dummy. I said I wasn't gonna ban anybody, but I changed my mind. What if you're part of the last generation of real humans? And what if we're winning? Because we are. This world's going to be better than it's ever been. And it will be even sooner than we imagine, because we're finding out who we are. We're the last generation of real humans. We're winning. And the last battalion will be ours. I'm going to do my best to be back Friday over on Goyam. Go over there, make an account. It's free. And I'm going to do my best to be back on Sunday. Please give a thumbs up. 77 in chat. Can you give Jeff a thumbs up, please? I do what? Jeff does that. What did I do? What did I do? I probably am guilty. I'm probably guilty. Unholy warrior, unholy holy. I'll get it done. I trust me. I believe you. So, folks, not only are we winning, but we're due a little retribution, folks. We got a little bit coming back our way. Anybody ready for a little? Oh, I do change my mind. Anybody ready for a little retribution? I'll see you again Friday night. Friday night? No, Friday. Yeah, I'll be Friday night on the road. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It'll be on Goyam. Look for information on my YouTube channel. Sunday will be where my kids are, and we'll do the Sunday show there. So, yeah, we're going to do it. I'm out of tea. So that means the show's over. But come get you a little bit of this right here. See you again. Love you.
Retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.